Welcome to Keep It, Cricket Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III, a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Louis Fertel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
Let's get into it.
And we are back with an all-new episode of Keep It. I'm Ira Madison III.
Are you sure you're not Ainsley Harriott? Who is that accent? First black British man I could think of. I am Louis Fertel. I just want to say, this regards a bunch of my close friends and a bunch of acquaintances who came up to me this week and they said, oh, I saw the article in Rolling Stone and I just want to ask how your workplace is doing, how you are. And I want to say to them, thank you for your concern. And also, I work for Jimmy Kimmel. I do not work for Jimmy Fallon. I live in Los Angeles. It is not 2008. You cannot be getting these two people mixed up. Yes.
Listen,
a lot of interesting stuff going on in the talk show universe this week. And as a striking talk show employee, it's given me at least something to think about.
You know, I thought that you worked at Jimmy John.
Number 4, Turkey Tom. Honey, I went to a state school. That is what we ate.
Whenever Louis has to get to work, I'm like, okay, like the sandwiches aren't that hard.
That bread. The bread at Jimmy John's that's like a mystical material.
It's
like both bread and it's also Nerf.
Yeah, it tastes so fucking good. Like I feel like the Jimmy John bread is the whole allure of it. I'm a big purveyor of sandwich shops. As you know, I'm a Subway fan. And also for people from the Milwaukee area, I don't think they have this in Illinois, Cousins.
I've heard of it. We don't have that. No. Potbelly is a big thing in Chicago.
Yeah, Potbelly's. But Cousins was that girl.
Also, I think I want to call more people cousin in a derogatory way. What did you just say, cousin? You know what my friend Andy got me hooked on? And of course, he's stolen this from Twitter, but it's so funny. Calling people beloved. What did you say, beloved?
That's such a very black thing.
I know. Oh, gay white men riffing on black lingo. You've heard it before. It's been done before.
I love a very good beloved. It's bitch without bitch.
It's also dumbass.
Yes.
You know. Okay.
Also, beloved, did you even read Beloved? Me as an English teacher.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so funny. It's so damning to be called beloved. Like, oh, I'm stupid.
Speaking of talk shows.
Yes.
Our girl Drew.
Oh my God. Cameron D and Destiny. I'm concerned. Yeah.
So Drew Barrymore, who we love. Like she is a chic celebrity. I don't know how chic she is. That was a poor adjective. We love her. She's very funny. She's very sweet.
Genuine.
Yeah. She does.
Almost despite herself, she's so genuine. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But now she has decided to put her show back on the air while we are striking. So I guess she is employing scabs to make her show, which is very sweet, so people are watching it. I watch it sometimes too, but it's mostly her dressing up in weird costumes or talking to Ross Matthews and Danny Pellegrino. So I don't know that it is essential that the show be back on the air right now. And it's very weird because, well, the MTV Movie Awards are airing tonight. They'll have aired when this episode comes out. Thank God we don't have to talk about that shit this year. She pulled out of the show because of the strike. But now she's back doing her show. And the fact that she is giving us this Notes app style apology for how she is bringing the show back and she wants to support people and the writers, etc. How about you support the writers by not being on strike? How about you not hire scabs? How about you go do what would be the easiest thing for a rich woman to do? Go be rich.
And also, I mean, if you're concerned about the crew being paid money, like then maybe just pay them out of your pocket instead of doing this thing. I mean, a friend of mine said it best. She did release a Notes app style not apology, but explanation for what she's doing. First of all, that was very shocking to read because it clearly didn't go through any other people. The grammar and the flow of it was like concerning. Like it made me almost feel bad for her because it's clear not that many people are on her side, even in her camp, seemingly. But she clearly is missing the vibe of the whole strike. You know, this is an industry that is currently taking advantage of specifically writers, but actors too. And we need to solve how we're all going to deal with this moving forward for forever if this industry is going to survive. And so to put on this show and to pretend you're doing it out of, I don't know, care for people is just missing the point. You know, we're caring for people right now doing the strike.
Yeah, it seems so short-sighted, and I don't understand the impetus to do it now. I could presuppose that CBS issued some sort of edict of we're going to cancel this shit as something that they wouldn't do to Colbert.
That's my guess, right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, baby, isn't it better to have that happen to the show and then say, hey, this is what CBS did, they suck?
Right. And by the way, I'm equally baffled by Jeopardy right now, which has new episodes, and the party line over there is we're using old material that the writers have written. And the suggestion was old episodes of the show, like maybe we would be dipping into like, you know, not every question has to be super timely on Jeopardy, so they could, you know, use old. The episode I watched last night, which was new, had questions about the Barbie movie. So it's like that was written recently. It's very confusing. I don't know what's going on over there.
Also, if you're using old clues from Jeopardy, does that mean the writers of those old clues get paid?
Right. I would assume. Yeah, right.
You know, most of them are probably dead. But it should go to their estate, surely.
Right. They're in the Culver City Cemetery right next door, yes.
You pass by them on your daily cemetery walks.
Yes.
Do you go to that one?
Becoming my legacy. No. I only go to Forest Lawn. Honey, there need to be A-listers. I will occasionally. No, you know what's crazy is, you know where you can see where Marilyn Monroe's grave? You just drive right down Wilshire Boulevard, take a left. There's this graveyard right there, and she's there. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and Kim Kardashian is parked outside with a shovel.
Yes, right. Ana de Armas has got the bucket.
Anyway, I don't know what Homegirl is doing.
Good memes though. Lots of good Scream material on Twitter regarding Drew Barrymore.
Yes, you know, I got off a Scream joke. Someone had a sign with it said "riding in cars with scabs."
Boys on the side, ethics on the side. How about that? Also, do you know what is particularly tragic, by the way? You know who in old Hollywood was a huge supporter of striking unions? That would be her great aunt, Ethel Barrymore, Oscar winner. Ethel Barrymore, along with her friend Marie Dressler, another legend, was a strong supporter of the Actors Equity Association and had a high-profile role in the 1919 strike. I'm reading this from Wikipedia, which is, I'm sure, incredibly researched. During the strike, Ethel and Lionel Barrymore starred in a benefit show staged by AEA at the Lexington Avenue Opera House. AEA came into being primarily to allow performers to have a bigger share in the profits of stage productions and to provide benefit to elderly or infirm actors. Her support for the strike angered many producers and cost Barrymore her friendship with George M. Cohan, an actor, songwriter, and producer. Well, George M. Cohan has a new ally in Drew Barrymore. He won it out eventually.
Listen, I think the solution for Drew is to remember that your show is not a first responder. So maybe go just chill out. Be on vacation, go to the grocery store, buy some McCain's, put them in your oven and eat some home fries. You know what I'm saying?
Home fries, good reference, yes. The wedding scabber. I wish I had more dynamite puns on me at the moment. I don't.
And it's a shame because mostly she's never been dissed, but now it's all happening.
Never been dissed. So I'm exhausted. Sorry, I didn't contribute. Go ahead.
Well, you know, to fill in our listeners on why I was using a British accent earlier in this episode, it's because our guest this week is the one and only Graham Norton.
Whom I tell him this at the end of the interview, but just one of the definitive interviewers of our time. When you tune into Graham Norton, you are guaranteed to have it's guaranteed to be fabulous. The celebrities are guaranteed to be having the most fun they'll ever have on TV. I've always admired him. He's so funny anyway. He's so the ideal, like a celebrity and a celebrity.
Even gays with no sense, no cultural sense, no thoughts in their tiny little brains, they watch Graham Norton interviews. I've been at many afters where someone will just throw on a Graham Norton segment, and it's great. It's soothing. I love seeing those. I love when a celebrity, an American one, is interacting with a British celebrity too. It's just it's fun. It feels like the best dinner party.
The Ocean's 8 press tour, when you would have like both Cate Blanchett and Rihanna on his couch, this is what television is about. Come on.
We need to link them back up again. I know there's not going to be a sequel, but Cate Blanchett and Rihanna, I need them in something else. Okay?
Right.
Like,
I need them in peril on the silver screen. Yes.
Can Cate Blanchett be the Morgan Freeman to Rihanna's Ashley Judd? That type of movie? A mystery?
That would be fun. Also, Ashley Judd, I know she had a brief cameo in that movie She Said. When's that return? I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. Or that's also making me think of The Bone Collector, which Denzel and Angelina. And also, I want to say, you know that Angelina Jolie is my favorite actress.
Yes. I have a comment on Angelina Jolie in a second. Don't let me forget. Go ahead.
It was interesting. There was a tweet going around about what your favorite performances of all time, and obviously it's hard to pare that down to 4, and we talked about some of our favorite Oscar-winning performances on the show before, but I think just off the top of my head immediately I was like, Angela Bassett in What's Love Got to Do with It, Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, Penelope Cruz in Voltaire, Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. Those are 4 iconic performances to me. And what's interesting is, yes, there's Girl Interrupted. Yes, there's Gia. I'm back and forth on The Changeling. And, of course, I love Salt. And I think she's great in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's so interesting that Angelina Jolie obviously is an amazing actress because when she delivers, she is fucking delivering. Like, she makes Gone in 60 Seconds, right? But I feel like because of her outsized celebrity and then also her humanitarian work and raising the kids, etc., there are so few definitive, iconic Angelina Jolie films.
Right. And there's lots of weird misses in between, too. Like, obviously, there's, like, the Troy universe and Beowulf and stuff.
You know what? 10 Cup is a good movie. Pushing 10 is a good movie.
Yeah, it's okay.
I should rewatch it.
What's interesting is I was also thinking about how when Charlize Theron emerged in the late 90s, she and Angelina basically were like kind of competing for the same roles and were even, in a way, spitting images of each other. I watched the Get Ready Woody Allen movie Celebrity, in which she gives a hilarious performance. It's one of those movies where there's just 10,000 actors in them, a big ensemble movie where everyone gets a little moment. Judy Davis gets broken up with for the 50th time anyway. But I was thinking, Girl Interrupted, and we've discussed this before, how Angelina never took a role like that again, really makes way more sense as a Charlize Theron role. I wouldn't be surprised if she auditioned for it and was like the runner-up to get that.
Yeah, and they both also have franchises like Atomic Blonde and Salt, which were sort of around the same time-ish, but never really got off the ground and could have potentially been interesting franchises,
Yes, right. No, they straddle that line of like, I'm an action hero, but I have emotional grit, so I can do smaller indie movies too if I wanted to.
Yeah, but I would love to see Angelina in a good, melodrama, a good who I blame for it? You've seen this interview, of course. Not interview. You remember the red carpet moment where Angelina Jolie finds Almodovar on the red carpet, and she's like, please cast me in a movie. Please cast me in a movie. And he's like, we'll talk. Like, I only do Spanish movies, girl. And now, he's branching out. So
yeah,
make Angelina her movie, Pedro.
Yeah, that does feel exactly right, too. Also, I love Angelina Jolie just begging Pedro Almodovar.
Right,
yeah.
Because...
Come on, fags.
I mean, obviously, she has great chemistry with one of his favorite leading men, Antonio Banderas. They are so hot in Original Sin.
Right, yes, certainly.
So, I need a Jolie-sance.
Yeah, and also good candidate for like a follow-up Oscar at some point for like a lead performance. You know, she got the ingenue Oscar. Now let's get the Grand Dame Oscar. You know, a little bit of a Zellweger situation.
Yeah, but hopefully not a Cold Mountain.
Oof, that is a tough one for me. Also, Jude Law really good in that though. I do like Jude Law in Cold Mountain.
Anyway, speaking of actors that we enjoy, the first thing we're going to talk about this week is what the fuck is going on with this Twitter account, Club Chalamet.
Timothee Chalamet is a fine actor that I enjoy. The mania surrounding him is disconcerting, and we just have to see it all the time if we're going to be on the internet, and I'm not leaving that anytime soon.
Also, Olivia Rodrigo's sophomore album, Guts, is out, and shockingly, it is not about the Nickelodeon competition show.
Ugh! I have a piece of the aggro crag right here, and I was going to whip it out for you. It stays here now.
We will be right back with more Keep It. So last week, I did some boots on the ground reporting, obviously, about Timothee Chalamet.
What was
and
that, Christiana
Kylie Jenner.
Amanpour? Okay, go ahead.
Ira Madison III, right here at the Renaissance World Tour at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Timothee Chalamet spotted with his paramour, Kylie Jenner. What's going on with them? Let's go inside for a closer look.
Not bad. I wish Graham were here to see that.
So they made their public debut at Beyonce, and now they've also been spotted at the U.S. Open together. So they're officially a couple now. And the internet has lost its goddamn mind about this relationship. There is so much going on with the idea of, do these two people belong together? Which, okay. And then there's also this online account called Club Chalamet, a Twitter and Instagram account, which is run by a 57-year-old black woman.
But all clubs
I
should be.
repeat.
I want to say this is generally good news.
True. Okay, true. Let me tell you something, Lewis. This is not Catch One, the gay bar in Los Angeles, which was famously run by a black woman. This is certainly not that.
You're telling me I'm not going to see Thelma Houston performing at Club Chalamet. Okay.
You might see her running the other way. I need to reiterate that a 57-year-old black woman is running this account, and she has lost her damn mind, as I said, along with the rest of the internet, because she is spiraling from this Timothee and Kylie relationship. Let me read some of the things that she has written.
Okay.
So we know Timothee was smoking in the stadium.
Yes, very unsafe.
We talked about that last week. Smoking relieves stress. We have never seen Timothee smoke, but most of us were aware that he smokes. That's very telling. He was tolerating a famous stalker who made this happen after months of public stalking. Yes, Timothee Chalamet is being stalked by Kylie Jenner.
Wow. I mean, I love the theory, and also the idea that he is dealing with it openly by smoking so that we see it. The theater of nicotine addiction as to deal with the woman he is currently spending time with, even though she's basically holding him hostage, according to this tweet.
If you're feeling distressed by the video, it's okay.
Wow.
But please take care of yourself. Step away from social media for a couple days. Don't attack or criticize Timothee. Too much money and time went into publicly harassing him, and it finally paid off for those people.
Did this person just tell somebody else to take time away from social media? Club Chalamet, heal thyself.
They certainly did not when she had a Twitter Spaces.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Where she talked for over 52 minutes,
Help me.
insinuating that Timothee was being blackmailed by a shadowy entity into being seen publicly with Kylie, and gave the iconic quote, "We've never even seen them go to the Olive Garden." He loves Italian food. I mean, why not just go to Olive Garden?
First of all, incredible question. That just should be asked to anybody at any time. You're at a bus stop right now. Why are you not at the Olive Garden?
Come on, don't go to Panera.
Okay, is this woman in jail yet? Because I'm seeing jail for her, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's giving shades of Selena, as you said earlier.
Yolanda Saldivar, yes, right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, like, we need to make sure that she does not have a weapon permit.
Yeah, I'm concerned. Also, I just have a question. Like, okay, so we all like Timothée Chalamet, really good actor. What was the moment where it became, like, the absolute center of her universe? Like, what is it about him that makes him important in this way? Because I have to say, like, whenever I see, like, a candid Timothy moment, or even when he was on SNL and, like, a little too excited to be friends with Pete Davidson, I realized, oh, this is like a traditional straight guy in many ways. Like, he's kind of bro-y energy, you know, in a way that is not reflected in his roles on the silver screen. Like, he's a good actor. He does not seem this way in many of his roles. But when I see the person he is in reality, it's sort of like, all right, average-ish guy. It's like when you see Leonardo DiCaprio dancing at Coachella. You're like, okay, so we're not friends.
Right. It feels a bit like, you know, I'm wearing a Charlie Puth sweater, right?
Yes.
And having met and profiled him and just seeing how people talk about him on the internet with the whole gay baiting thing, and then now he's engaged to a woman that he's been dating, publicly dating. By the way, people are still discussing that, and it's meeting him, talking to him. He is just a straight dude.
Yeah. No, there's no mystique to heterosexuality. I'm sorry. They live a particular way, and I've seen it 1,000 times. I've got news for you. My father is straight. So I've grown up seeing this behavior.
But there's something about a male celebrity who is sort of younger and not explicitly overly, hyperly masculine that throws the internet into a tizzy.
Sure.
And they create all these sort of fantasies about what this person is doing in their life, you know?
It reminds you of, you know, like the Robert Pattinson heyday. Or,
yes.
And I mean, actually the other guy, too, Taylor Lautner, you know.
Yes.
There's a softness to them. So maybe that's vulnerability. Maybe I have an in there. People are creepy.
They drove my man Robert crazy.
Yes, they definitely did.
Like and people, we have forgotten about it now that Kristen Stewart is very much in her lesbian era.
Yes.
And just
that woman, by the way, is mother. We fucking love Kristen Stewart here.
Generally just a cool bitch.
Also, Kristen Stewart in the position of being in a franchise that, I mean, sucked. And then she was sometimes blamed for it. And then since then, she's made only really tasteful choices, basically. You know, outside of that Charlie's Angels movie, which, you know, I'll never forget, even though I've been advised
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh, no.
There's only two Charlie's Angels movies.
Right, yeah. Lucy Liu, right. We talked about it earlier. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Weird. What's interesting about Timothée Chalamet to me is I think I'm into the aesthetic, not into the whole wayfish, Twinkie, I want to date him, obsessed with him aesthetic. I think he's generally pretty fashionable for like a regular
has
celebrity.
Fun with it. Yeah.
Right. I follow an Instagram account called Ready Timmy Wear.
Okay.
And they put the outfits that he's seen wearing in public on the Instagram account and where you can buy them. So
also,
the prices for them.
There's something about him, and when he picks the, you know, I'm not going to say androgynous clothing, but, you know, fashionable stranger choices, that feels way more credible to me than when someone like Harry Styles does it. I can't explain it.
Right.
It's like, it's not like I think he's like way more brilliant than Harry Styles. There's just something about the look, that world that is like fitting to him in a way. You know, I don't question it. It's like this is the name that's coming to mind. When Lupita Nyong'o just wanders into pop culture wearing the most glamorous shit of all time, I'm like, correct. That works. Some people, fashion just agrees with who they are, and he's one of those people.
I think it's also this effortlessness that comes with just him being a New Yorker. You know, he's just walking around in these clothes, but it's just sort of his general sense, his aesthetic. He's not really putting on a whole. It's with the weird times, the few times we've seen him be dressy, or trying to make a statement, like when he looked like that Candyland villain
yes.
on the red carpet.
That was a famous tweet
Moments
of mine.
like that.
Yes.
Yes.
I said he looked like Lord Licorice in Greta Gerwig's Candyland. Yes.
But those are the only moments we see that from him. So, I don't know. This interest in him, I feel like it has to stem from Call Me By Your Name. I feel like something about seeing him in this romantic relationship that is sort of, that's fraught and unfolds over the course of the film had to have been some sort of turn on for older women like Club Chalamet.
Yes. Well, because that's a movie about pining, which is what losers on the internet do. And then secondly, at the end of that movie, he is just weeping for 10 minutes. And I feel like that appeals to a certain demographic too. You know, like I too am weeping alone. I too am looking into the fire and thinking about my romantic past.
People are tweeting about when the last time they cried was.
Yes. Oh my God. Now you've put your finger on it. People, if people have an emotional moment nowadays and they have any internet presence, they're like, I can monetize this. I can turn this into, you know, a show and brag that I effing cried during the last episode of Heartstopper. How about bragging you didn't cry and you held it together like an adult? How about that?
I was at my mom's funeral. Didn't shed a fucking tear, bro.
Slay, bitch. She went down hard. Yeah.
What's very funny is looking at videos of this woman.
Oh, and there are videos of this woman.
Yes, and interactions. She has a selfie with Timothee from one event.
Too bad.
But there's also an event where he's going to hug fans and he skips over her.
No. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's so scary to be a celebrity. Oh, it's so scary.
It is.
People are just lingering everywhere.
She's the stalker.
Wasn't there that story recently with Drew Barrymore was on stage and then Renee Rapp protected her from some fan or something? It's so creepy.
Yeah. So I don't know. We gotta wait for Biden to be out of office though, because if she's gonna be shooting a U.S. president,
yeah, right.
So this is a Jodie Foster situation.
Yeah.
She couldn't have done this 2016 to 2020. I like how we're sure this is what she's up to, by the way. We don't know. I feel like that's what adds to the creepiness about it. There's part of it that's funny, and then there's part of it that seems like it won't be funny if she actually tries to kill him or Kylie Jenner.
I don't mean to say that this is particular to this woman, by the way. It's just like that's the whole thing with internet culture. If there's even some realm of attention paid to a certain kind of person who's obsessed with something. It's a little bit like how for Britney fans, it really like panned out for them that they turned out to be right about a lot of things that were happening to her. But, you know, a lot of the time that would be considered invasive, or they would just be straight up wrong or uninformed or missing a big part of the story. Yeah.
The wilder part of this story, of course, is just the fact that this woman is looking for attention. Because yesterday she tweeted, "Once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker." In July, so this is in the genre of people making 9/11 about themselves, which happens every year. "Once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker. In July 2001, I turned down a job opportunity that was located on the 102nd floor of the World Trade Center. Although the money was exceptional, the job was going to steer me in a financial direction that I didn't want. Also, my gut instinct was on high alert to the point that I felt something was terribly wrong about this opportunity.
Excuse me.
I declined the job, and I've never done that in my life before or after. Always trust your gut. Is the universe trying to tell you something? Hashtag 9/11 never forget. Hashtag NYC. And a photo of the two towers. Bitch!
Never forget? You mean always predict? Because you predicted 9/11?
In July, by the way.
She's like, something's lingering. I don't know what it is. I can't be in that building.
That's so Raven moment about, don't go in those towers.
Oh my God, touching your forehead and pretending to have a premonition is like one of my favorite funny things. What an insane tweet.
Which is very funny because so many New Yorkers have a story about how, oh my God, I almost died on 9/11. If I was supposed to be there, but that truly takes the fucking cake.
That, I mean, to bring up Robert Pattinson again, it's bringing up that movie where it ends up at September 11th.
Remember me?
Like, what?
Remember me? Yes. They show his grave at the end, but we don't see the dead body. Okay, I need remember me. I need. Did you remember me? And he's alive, and who they thought was his dead body was another dead body, and then that launches a mystery into figuring out who that person is.
Is it possible you watch too many soaps? I'm concerned.
I don't know.
There's a fancifulness to your thinking right now that I'm going to call derangement.
Just call me Mickey Mouse, baby, because I'm fun and fancy free.
Oh my God. I was recently fantasizing about hosting a fitness class just for the hell of it. And I want to have funny lines lined up. And here's one I thought of. Are you ready? I'm Schitt's Creek, baby. I'm your dad and I'm watching you. Anyway. More to come. This is my next line of work if this strike goes on any longer.
Let me tell you something. I also watched a clip of you in a YouTube competition series.
I was on
Experts.
I posted this 10 years ago. I was on this awesome YouTube game show called The Experts, where they quiz you on a specialty subject, and you're up against other people in their specialty subjects. I was talking about Madonna. Can you believe it? And I was up against somebody who knew about Batman from the comics. And then our friend Hiko, who is a big Melrose Place expert. I think his questions were maybe a degree harder than mine. Anyway, I still won.
Yeah, because some of those, I feel like I knew 90% of the Madonna ones.
Yeah,
too.
they were pretty
Just
basic, generally speaking.
Yeah. But some of those Melrose ones, I was digging into my brain. So I did know one of them that he didn't know, but he knew a couple of other ones that I didn't know. So that was weird. I would say the Batman one, that was hard as hell. Because you're a fan of Batman comics. Okay, there have been over 100 years of Batman comics. So that's a lot of shit.
Right. That said, he chose his own specialty topic. So in my opinion, he dug his own grave. Yeah.
Oh my God. Lastly, about 9/11.
Thank you. Okay, back to why we do this podcast. 9/11.
My favorite segue. What is the connection between Tommy Vietor and 9/11 Madonna? I'm kidding. The only I almost died in 9/11 story that I care about is this was going around on Twitter.
I know exactly what you're going to bring up.
The interview with this man and his wife, where he was worried that his wife had died in the towers on 9/11, but she was not at work when the planes hit because she did not go into work that morning because she was going to buy Mariah Carey's Glitter album. And that is the power of that album. Okay, Mariah Carey saves lives. When a hero comes along.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up how some woman wasn't in the towers because she almost ran into Gwyneth Paltrow on the street.
No, I didn't see that one.
Talk about heroes. Gwyneth and Mariah. The front lines.
We need a Vantage Point style movie about 10 different people and the weird celebrity encounters they had on 9/11 that prevented them from dying.
Right. But no, precisely. I would be right there. By the way, talented Mr. Ripley was on TV last week. Man, we really put Gwyneth in the Hitchcock glamour in that movie. The breakdown scene at the end when she's having the final confrontation with Tom. Fabulous. Also, Gwyneth Paltrow, come unkeep it. We are nice gay men. Just talk to us.
And I love Goop.
I have some of that botanical shit. I want skin that's pearly too.
I want skin that's pearly coming back to off-Broadway this fall.
Pearly Burly.
Pearly Victorious, starring Leslie Odom Jr.
What's he up to?
Starring in Pearly Victorious.
Oh, okay. Got it. Oscar nominee
When
twice.
When you do a Broadway show, Lewis, that is all you're doing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
8 shows a week.
Is Sean Hayes? No, I think Sean Hayes just finished up over there. He was doing that accent like up, down, and back, the Oscar Levant thing.
Yeah. Anyway, Club Chalamet.
Take a break.
Is there a cover to get in? Maybe there should be a cover to get in, and then maybe all the insane thoughts can't get in.
Right.
We need a bouncer at Club Chalamet to protect her sanity.
And maybe ours and our well-being.
When we're back, we are joined by Graham Norton. Keep It is brought to you by Cariuma, the cool, sustainable sneaker company with old school style and new school ethics. Warm weather is well on its way out, and we're gearing up for all things fall. You love that, Lewis, don't you? You're ready for the fall.
I need to wear these shoes so I can sprint away from you fall lovers who are finding me in the streets. Enjoy your Halloween costumes, dorks.
With over 40,000 five-star reviews, Cariuma's got you covered for your return back to school, back to work, and back to reality. These sneakers are crazy, comfy, and consciously crafted. No wonder they're worn by celebrities and praised by publications like Vogue and GQ.
Aka is Cariuma's new school take on a timeless sneaker style. With a classic silhouette and ultra-soft LWG certified suede and leather finish, they make for the perfect autumn pair. I am wearing a pair right now. They are utterly comfortable, and I feel like I could break into a sprint at any moment, and Cariuma's would keep up with me. They also come in breathable 100% cotton canvas for a lightweight feel, and a look you can rock year-round. Choose from a selection of neutral colorways or add a pop of color for an elevated everyday look with ultimate comfort this season.
Cariuma also has a little something for everyone and is always keeping it fresh with epic collabs with brands like Pantone, the Van Gogh Museum, and Peanuts. A new collection of colors is released in collaboration with Pantone every season, and you won't want to miss out on their collection of fall colors that just dropped. The lineup of Pantone shades this season include Navy Peony, Ruby Wine, and Cacao Nibs. 3 rich and warm autumnal shades for your coziest fall yet. I love Ruby Wine. Okay?
Oh, please. And she was great in American Gangster.
Cariuma is B Corp certified and has a dedicated reforestation program based in the Brazilian rainforest. Their co-founders, David and Fernando, both grew up there, so this project is especially close to home. For every pair of sneakers sold, Cariuma plants 2 trees. They've already planted over 2 million trees to date. Cariuma ships all their sneakers free and fast in the USA and offers worldwide shipping and 60-day free returns. They deliver right to your front door using single box recycled packaging.
And for a limited time, Keep It listeners could get an exclusive 15% off your pair of Cariuma sneakers. Go to cariuma.com/keepit to get 15% off. That's cariuma.com/keepit for 15% off only for a limited time.
Keep It is brought to you by Indochino. Personal style isn't just about having a signature look, and fall is the perfect time to add a few more layers to your wardrobe. I love putting on layers. I like to feel like I am the Earth's core.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You got a mantle, you got a crust.
Just wrapped up.
Silicone.
Yeah.
I can name all the materials right now, I think, if you gave me like 25 minutes, but we don't have that time.
Oh, okay. Anyway, let's go back to Indochino.
Okay.
Customization is easy, whether you're looking for something bold or timeless, and with new colors, fabrics, and outerwear styles, it's easy to create your fall look. Their unique process allows you to choose the exact customizations you want, from buttons and vests to pockets and lapels. You say how you want it, and that's how they'll build it. You submit your measurements online or book a showroom appointment to work with an Indochino expert style guide in person. It's designed and made to fit you, and it gives you the luxury of ordering custom clothing at a surprisingly affordable price.
I love trying out everything at Indochino. It just is one of those things where it gives you a departure from where you would normally shop and how you would normally shop. And so you try a bunch of different things, and you try a bunch of different fits too, which is, a stressful thing in this day and age when the kids are wearing billowy and billowier things, and millennials like me and Ira are left to understand what they're even doing or where we fit in. So anyway, Indochino is saving our asses and making us feel like we belong. Add fresh layers to your fall style with Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code KEEPIT to get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That's 10% off at INDOCHINO.com. Promo code KEEPIT.
So it's impossible for you not to know our guest today. He's our favorite host, presenter, comedian, Eurovision commentator, you name it. He's also an accomplished novelist who is back with his next great novel, Forever Home. Please welcome to Keep It, the legendary Graham Norton.
Hello, everybody. Hi, guys.
And also, you're clutching,
Hi.
I'm going to assume tea right now, and I feel like we're in a sort of Cabot Cove mystery clutch together, like bundled up together.
Sadly, it's coffee. It's coffee. I'm so sorry. It's coffee. And also, I'm in New York. I don't know if you know. If you think this is exciting and you're talking to me in some little cottage in Ireland, no. And the two things I should warn you about before we get going is, one, helpfully, they're knocking a building down next door, so you might hear that. And also, my husband's out. If he gets back, the dog will go nuts, so you'll hear that. Okay, so those, so long as it's motivated. I feel like sounds, if they're motivated, it's fine. It's fine.
So I live in New York, so they're constantly hearing the sounds of the streets. They're hearing a Scorsese film outside every day. So
A light murder or two. Yeah, it should be cute.
I want to ask about, this is your fourth novel, and it's so interesting to me that you are into writing, I guess, mysteries, cozy-esque mysteries, and we would assume that, someone of your comedic background would write the traditional book of essays or something. Is that something that doesn't appeal to you? What is it about mysteries that really has hooked you and you love writing them?
Cozy crime is kind of my jam. I like reading them. So, writing one seemed a natural next step. I will say, I am totally aware, as someone who interviews people, talking about novels is so hard. It's just miserable. Memoirs, easy. You just flick a page, tell me that story. Novels are just like, oh, come on. Who listening to this is actually going to read a novel?
Slay. Now we said it. Yeah.
I do feel for you. Like, and I was thinking, as an older gay to some younger gays, like back in my day, the books that we would be drawn to, we would read Armistead Maupin and Tales of the City. Is there anything for the young gays now? Or are they just all watching Heartstopper? Is that where it ends?
Wow. We all reading something. Occasionally, like I remember we all did Call Me by Your Name a couple years ago. Like there was that A Little Life thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone in New York has been reading, and in LA too. I feel like everyone's been reading the new Bret Easton Ellis book,
The Shards. Yes.
So he's still around.
Oh, okay. I'll give that a whirl. I haven't read that. Yeah. Okay.
It's long, but it's good.
Okay, you can. Long is fine if it's good.
Yeah.
No, you just talked about how it's hard to talk about a novel when you're interviewing somebody, but I think one of my favorite things about you is, and I know that on talk shows, a lot of prep goes into an interview and you know what you're going to talk about ahead of time and stuff, but you have such an amazing ability to build instant rapport with literally anybody. It could be a really young star, or it can be like Judi Dench on her like 900th go around on these fucking things, being like, please entertain me even a little bit. And has that always been a gift you've had, something where, where you just kind of know you can get people on your side by talking to them?
Well, I think maybe it is a kind of a gay thing, isn't it?
Totally.
It's the wanting to be liked gene is quite strong, and it's the wanting not to be hit gene is quite strong. So it's finding that kind of nuanced way through any social situation and trying to read the other person. I think there's a straight alpha male thing where they don't read situations. They are the situation. I'm here now. And I think as gay men, we have to navigate the world in a slightly more careful way. Like, who is this person? What will their attitude to me be like? Are they? What's our status to each other? All that sort of stuff. So, I don't think about that when I'm doing the show, but I imagine some of that has informed having the role of chat show host.
Are there people you are particularly proud to have won over? in conversation that maybe seemed, stoic and unreachable at first?
Yeah, there are. I mean, there are those kind of like old Hollywood stars who you kind of think, here we go. Like Lauren Bacall back in the day. She was on, and she was not happy. She was quite grumpy, and I remember the person she was wearing like real pearls. And I didn't know, did you know this? That you're not supposed to touch real pearls with your fingers. You're supposed to wear gloves and then put them on because apparently the oil's in your skin or something. So someone was doing her makeup and the hand brushed pearls because face there, pearls here. It's going to happen. And she went, don't touch the pearls. And then whatever question you asked her about her life, she just went, read the book. And it's like, so it was quite hard, quite a tricky interview. But then, what was amazing, and I just think this is so extraordinary, the next time she came on, she was like a different person. And what had happened was, she'd got a dog. And she was high as a kite on dog love. She loved that thing so much, and it was like night and day. The person. So to go back, I'm sort of backing because I didn't do anything to win her over. Just a dog unlocked the charm. So I guess maybe that's why someone put a basket of puppies in Mariah Carey's dressing room. We don't know.
No, my friend is a huge Barbra Streisand fan, and he went to the premiere of The Mirror Has Two Faces and happened to walk past Lauren Bacall, and he goes to her, and he shouldn't have done this. He walks past her and he goes, I don't mean to interrupt. And she goes, then don't. She's like, she had been here before. Yeah. She is hair raising. When you lose that Oscar to Juliette Binoche and you were waiting to get it, I don't know. Maybe that changes the brain a little bit.
Yeah. It's like she's Madonna before Madonna.
Yes, right. Yeah. Times Betty Davis. Yeah, right.
Lewis's question actually made me think of, one of my favorite people that you do interview is one of my favorite actors, Tom Cruise. And I would say that I feel like your first interview with him, he had been sort of, I guess, burned by American interviews post the Oprah thing. But I feel like watching in succession your interviews with Tom, you can see in that first one how comfortable you sort of make him, because I love that bit where you ask what one-liners of yours do people bring up to you often, and he's like, oh yeah, they bring them up, they bring all of them up, and you're like, I'm trying to get you to say one, do one, and then he does it, and then he has fun doing it, and then each time he's come back, it's like he's more comfortable, talking to people. And it was so intriguing, too, seeing him with Jude Law, because, Jude Law starts talking about how he was had to breathe underwater doing, like, the young Pope. And, like, that clicked him on, like, hearing someone else do a feat of human ability to be an actor.
Yeah, he loves that stuff. He has sort of become a friend of the show. And in fact, he did a really nice thing. I think it was kind of during COVID. I think his set had been shut down, and he just came on our show for kind of no reason, just to say the world is still the world, and there will be movies again, and TV shows are happening, and it was a really, it was a great boost for us, because during COVID it was really hard doing the show. Sometimes we'd no audience, sometimes the guests were all on Zoom, sometimes they were on weird chairs with like 8 feet between them. It was miserable, and so it was such a kind of kind, lovely thing for him to do, and also I guess it was a reminder to everybody that movies would come back. But I never get past, I'm glad he looks more relaxed, because I never get past the fact that it's Tom Cruise in a way that is really unusual. I've had lots of kind of those big stars on, and he's about the only one where it doesn't just become a man in a suit. Whereas, they stay funny and charming and talented and handsome and all those things, but they do eventually, after a few minutes, just become some man sitting, and then you're just talking to them. Whereas he somehow retains that kind of mystique of being being Tom Cruise. And he does a great thing. I've told this before, but I'll tell it again. He does an amazing thing. And so on the way in, he gets out of his car, and the line producer goes up and goes, "Hi, I'm Catherine. So glad you're back on the show. So glad you're doing the show. This is so and so who's going to be the floor manager who will get you on the set. This is Pete who did the research for your interview. This is so and so who's going to help with your styling if you need anything." And Right, fine. 2 hours later, when he's leaving the studio, he's going, "Oh, thank you so much, Lindsay. Bye-bye. Oh, Pete, thank you very much. Linda, thank you very much. Oh, where's Catherine? Where's Catherine?" And so everyone who works on my show adores Tom Cruise. I mean, I don't know their names, but Tom Cruise does. And it's a trick. But I haven't bothered to learn it. I don't know if you guys have. And it makes people love him. And I think, and there's so much kind of negativity, I think, in the world about Tom Cruise, and there's so many weird articles and this and that and da-da-da-da. But if you talk to anyone who's worked with him, they all love him. They all only have good things to say. Now, I that's all I'm saying. I'm not entering into that world any further, but all I will say is the evidence of people who kind of work with him seems to be that he's an okay person.
But also, I think that speaks to what you're saying about how you can never just think he's a normal guy, because there is this X factor of how can you be such an amazing politician in one regard, and then there's this like strange mystique about you in the outside world connected to these, like Scientology, et cetera, whatever. And it doesn't cohere. So I think altogether, he only adds to his own mystery is what's happening.
Yes, and also to enjoy life so much, but to have a clear death wish. That seems to be right.
And to die in front of us.
Baffles me.
Yes,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to die if people are watching. Is the camera rolling?
I guess we should talk about Drag Race. And my main question about that is, as much as you're judging people for basically doing a good job, or, it's like any talent competition in some regard, it feels like drag is constantly being updated. There's a lot to learn at any given stage about what, is outdated, or what is, what's the new thing coming up. Do you feel like you have to do a lot of research to keep up as a Drag Race judge?
None.
Really?
None at all. No, I know nothing. And what's great is the drag queens could not care less what I say or think. They are just like, children pressed to the sweet shop window if Rue or Michelle says something. But with me and Alan Carr, we're the rotating judges on the UK version. We're just like bird song when we speak. They're just, they're thinking about their heels. My wig's a bit hot. And then we stop speaking and then they focus again. But it's interesting. I've seen Rue and Michelle change over time because, now we get drag queens who don't pad. We get drag queens who don't use breastplates. We get bearded drag queens. All this stuff that wasn't kind of part of Rue's world and Michelle's world. And they've really embraced it. And I think it's interesting that they've done that. And it's great for the show as well, because the show would become irrelevant if the show wasn't kind of representing the drag that's in the clubs and the drag, particularly in Britain, I think. There's a big drag scene in the east of London, and it's proper old school club kids. It sort of goes back to Kinky Glinky and those nightclub nights in the 80s, and it's kind of kids doing that again, and the Lee Bowery thing and all of that stuff. And I think it's great that Drag Race is representing that sort of drag. Otherwise, it would just be, I don't know what it would be. It would be irrelevant.
It's interesting, yes, the idea of culture coming back circularly and how that's affecting drag, and how you're just sort of there for the ride. You mentioned interviewing like Lauren Bacall back in the day, and now you have Taylor Swift, etc. people on your show. What would you say has changed the most about celebrity, I guess, since then, especially in how you interact with them on a talk show? Or does it still feel the same?
I mean, in lots of ways it feels the same because there's an audience, and really all we're trying to do is tell some funny or interesting stories and please a crowd. That's all we want to do. So I'm not 60 Minutes. I'm not one of the, I'm not out to get the scoop. It is literally a chat. We're chatting. There's a drink on the coffee table, and I want you to tell that funny story about the time, your rabbit ran away or whatever. So I feel on one level that hasn't changed. I think one of the things that has happened is stars now are slightly more cautious about what they say or what story they're going to tell. Because, of course, things don't stay on TV. Things then get reported. Or quotes will be pulled, and they're not in context. So I will ask a question, and what they say flows absolutely naturally from that question. But then if you take what they say and put in front of it Taylor Swift slams Swifties or something, or Taylor Swift lashes out at da-da-da-da, that's exhausting for everybody. But it means that you're kind of thinking, should I say that? Or what? I think people second guess themselves a bit more now because of all the secondary reporting that goes on.
That's so interesting, because I feel like in the earlier days of talk shows, was it not so much of someone says something on a late night show, unless it's like truly incendiary, people aren't really talking about it in the news the next day.
And also, people were watching. That's the thing. I'm very aware, particularly in this country, if anybody has seen my show, they've seen YouTube clips, so everything's out of context. They, a YouTube clip starts and we're all laughing and da-da-da. It's like, what the fuck was going on there? Why are they all having such a good time? And sometimes it's frustrating because we make a 45-minute show, but it is consumed globally in these kind of little 3-4 minute segments. And listen, we're not complaining. It's great that people do get to see it around the world. But back in the UK, there's 45 coal mining moments. There's a hard work on the whole face of chat. Yeah.
Is there a huge star, a movie star, TV star, something, whom if they wanted to, you think would be a great talk show host? But of course, they will never do it because they're too busy, with this other stuff.
Well, funny enough, the person I used to always say was Kelly Clarkson, and now she's got one.
Lo and behold, yes.
I think she's so great. She's really chatty and good. I mean, lots of them would be good at it. I think, but particularly comedians. I think comedians kind of fit into it well because they're used to kind of, crowd work and all that sort of, talking to people. Who else would be good at it? I mean, a lot of the kind of the more kind of Emily Blunt could do it. I think standing on her head, or who else? I mean, a bunch of them. And also it's not like I'm saying it as like the ability to defuse a bomb. It's not rocket science. You are sitting on a chair talking. It's not that hard. Yeah, who could do it? Who could possibly do it?
Emily Blunt at least comes with a built-in pun for like the name of her show.
Right.
So,
yeah.
The last
what
name
Blunt.
works.
Blunt conversation. Yeah. Yes, right.
Blunt.
There we go.
I want to shift gears a bit and ask this question. As young gays to an older gay, to one of our mentor gays.
There we go.
Let me use that word instead, like I'm Mariah Carey. You mentioned earlier, that like your husband might come in and interrupt like the sound or something, and I remember reading like pre-COVID, like an old interview with you where you were talking about like dating as a public figure, especially a gay public figure, and how you sort of didn't see that as an easy thing for people to do if you were gay versus like a man dating a woman, and you didn't see that in the cards for you. So how do you feel now since you've been married for a year, and that sort of is much different from how you felt in 2015?
I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? When it happens, it happens. So I have spent far more of my life single than I have in relationships, and I suppose lots of decisions and lots of things become easier as you get older. and I say this joke about, when you're getting married, the vows as you get older are much easier. Till death do us part seems kind of achievable when you're my age. Whereas if you're in your 20s, that's a big ask. Really? That for the rest of my life? So I think things like that make it easier. And also, it felt right. It felt easy. I think if you've got to have long nights of the soul, kind of thinking, should I do this? Should I do this? Chances are you shouldn't. If it's a nice, easy decision where you go, yeah, let's do that, then you're probably going to do okay.
And I have to ask about the fact that you're going to be the host of Wheel of Fortune coming back in the UK.
I know. How nuts is that?
I'm an obsessive game show fan. I actually think Pat Sajak is one of the more underrated hosts we have, period, over here. He does a really great job in the show, and he'll be leaving it soon. But when I think about Wheel of Fortune, I think about you have to sympathize a lot with contestants who are doing poorly, sometimes for no reason. Just the wheel keeps landing on bankrupt, and it's like, I have to tell you that your life sucks right now. That's just how it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. What do you think is the hardest part of that job, or what will be the hardest part of that job?
Ooh, I don't know yet. I mean, one of the reasons I said yes to it was because in the past I've done kind of game show pilots with new formats, and that is awful. That is where you're in the middle of a game and you realize, oh, this is why this won't work. Because there was one game show. It was massive, this huge studio, all this stuff. And in the auto script, at the end of each round, I would check the scores, and I would go, okay, let's check in with the scores. No one scored anything. No one, nothing. So I would keep going at the end of a round. Well, let's check in with the scoreboard. It's like, yeah, Graham, we know what's up there. Nothing. So at least with this, I know that it's a tried and tested format. So it's just, when we tape them in the winter. So, if I talk to you again, I'll know more. It's about, I don't know how I'll fit into that world, but I like that I'll be making a show with people who absolutely know how to make that show and know that the format works. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the wheel. Let's not fix it.
Yeah, so, there's only 26 letters. They can't really mess this up from a contested perspective. They can't be asking for omega or whatever, and then it's not a puzzle. Yeah.
You've also hosted, some interesting game formats over time too. I mean, I was just looking up the show Carnal Knowledge, which I feel like, British shows, I feel like have a bit more of. They have more shows about sex, or game shows sort of about sex, than Americans have really had. We've had The Dating Game, and we had Singled Out on MTV. But is that sort of a format that you feel is inherently British, or do you feel like that's a format even that you could redo now?
No. We couldn't do it then, is the truth. It was a kind of a filthy Mr. and Mrs. Show that showed in the middle of the night. It was when one of our networks was experimenting with through the night viewing, and so they realized that if you wanted to keep people awake, filth was a very good way to choose. So there were lots of kind of raunchy shows. They would show these raunchy shows during the night, and that was one of them. That was my first ever TV gig, was being the co-host on Carnal Knowledge with my friend Maria. And it was like, television should not be that much work. It was like you would go home at the end of the night with like a splitting headache, as if you'd been doing something important all day, rather than encouraging a young person to draw doggy style in stick figures. In the end, we got so bored of doggy style, we had to kind of go, no, a different favorite sexual position. We're not having it. I know it's easy to draw, but no.
I'll be honest, I think we need that show. I has to come back. It feels urgent to me.
Kids are confused over here.
Yeah,
people are confused over here about sex right now. I think we need to bring it back.
Graham, thank you so much for being here. My God, you were as electrifying as we expected. And also, just when you have legendary stars on, and we are concerned about people being interviewed well here, we just love that format. You are the primo person for it. When there's a new awesome clip with you, I'm so excited to see it. You are so amazing at what you do.
That's so kind of you. And I heard the podcast you did about Eurovision. So thank you very much for all your kind words and for sticking with the many, many, many hours of Eurovision. So thank you.
I've been a Eurovision fan for years, and I do love it. And I really love the whole afternoon that you just spend watching this entire thing. And I mean, hats off to you for having to do that American Idol style. And we'll be right back with the votes for this country. And then talking to every country, too. It's really an undertaking, but it's fun.
I had a ball. And the great thing is I'll never have to do it again. So
any contest that Katrina and the Waves can win, I will be watching. That's what you have to know about Eurovision.
It's been a pleasure, boys. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, come back anytime. Thank you.
Keep It is brought to you by bookshop.org. When you purchase from bookshop.org, you're supporting local independent bookstores so they will be around for all of us to enjoy in the future. Well, not Meg Ryan's bookstore. Tom Hanks took care of that one.
Yes. Yeah. Also, Parker Posey in that movie. What an asshole.
Book recommendations on bookshop.org come from real people who love books, not algorithms. And whether you're searching for a political expose, an examination of class and society, a fantasy novel that sweeps you away, or our guest today, Graham Norton's book, Forever Home, bookshop.org has the book you are looking for.
And you know what I bet it has? My favorite genre of book, which is the celebrity memoir. I'm trying to pick my favorite of all time right now. Kathy Griffin's first book, which I believe is called Official Book Club Selection. You will not be able to put it down. Her family is an amazing story, and of course, she is hilarious. I really, really recommend it. Bookshop.org has raised over $27 million for local bookstores. They're unapologetically anti-Amazon. Bookshop.org believes local bookstores are essential community hubs that foster culture, curiosity, and a love of reading, and they're committed to helping them survive and thrive. Bookshop.org is a certified B Corp, and were named Best for the World by B Labs. Use code KEEPIT to get 10% off your next order at bookshop.org/crooked. That's bookshop.org/crooked and use code KEEPIT to get 10% off your next order. I love Sally Field's book In Pieces also.
Keep It is brought to you by Laundry Sauce.
I just used laundry sauce for the first time. It is a dream. The materials are so sleek looking too. It's a plain white look. It looks chic in your closet.
You love a 2001 Space Odyssey look in your home. You love those kind of products.
Spare. Yes, correct. Minimalist. My old laundry detergent used to come in these big plastic jugs. The laundry would also smell so bland. I do laundry a lot, but I wasn't a big fan of my old laundry detergent. Isn't it so frustrating to do laundry and your clothes come out smelling kind of stale and synthetic? Well, this podcast is sponsored by Laundry Sauce. Laundry Sauce created the world's best-smelling laundry detergent in simple-to-use, high-performance pods that get the job done. From Australian sandalwood to Egyptian rose to cyber pine, these all sound like ninth-place combatants on Drag Race. Your laundry will smell better than ever before. Plus, they stripped away all the unnecessary ingredients and artificial dyes and maximized the hardworking, science-backed stain fighters and enzymes to ensure your favorite clothes come out looking brand new. First of all, I love Laundry Sauce because of the look. But two, you really underestimate how often you get your laundry done and you're not obsessed with the smell. Because, by the way, clothes should smell a certain way, and people notice how clothes smell. In fact, at work one time, Molly, one of the head writers at Kimmel, said there used to be a writer on the show who always smelled like laundry that had been in the dryer too long. And I think that's a particularly, it makes me shiver. I think detergent is a big reason why it smells that way.
Well, Laundry Sauce was started way back in 2021. So long ago. By a team who were bored by the mundane scents in the detergent aisle. So they decided to make a product that was conscious, relevant, and innovative. So what's the secret sauce? Well, they partnered with one of the top fragrance houses in the world, the same team behind many of your favorite designer scents. And with Laundry Sauce, every load of laundry becomes a touch of luxury right in your laundry room. And it's not just pods. Laundry Sauce makes scent boosters, dryer sheets, dryer balls, and fabric softeners too. And if you aren't happy, you can send back Laundry Sauce for a full refund, no questions asked.
Remember, when you smell your best, look your best, and feel your best, you're ready to take on the rest. So head to laundrysauce.com/keepit and use promo code KEEPIT at checkout for 15% off. That's the best offer you'll find, but you must use my code KEEPIT for 15% off your order. One last time, that's laundrysauce.com/keepit, promo code KEEPIT for 15% off. Olivia Rodrigo is back with her sophomore album, and the critics and fans seem to be loving it, but as you all know, their opinions don't matter. Ours do. We're here to voice those. So are we saying good for you, or do we think it's a bad idea, right? Ira, you're up first. Talk about the teen girls to me. The woman is 20 years old. She's 20 years old.
Oh, so too young for Chris Evans to marry her, but not that young.
What was the internet freaking out about? The woman's like 26.
A 26-year-old child, Lewis.
Oh.
She has
That does exist, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
she had a wedding and then homeroom right after. Shame on you, Chris Evans. No. Anyway, Olivia Rodrigo, pardon me. I'm gonna have to go and put on my Stan hat.
First of all, I will never pardon you to do that again. Second of all, what does a Stan hat look like? Is it a tricorn? You look like Peter Pan over there?
It looks like it's Robin Hood's cap. There's a feather in it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I like this girl. I love her. I really do. And I am loving her even more because people are up in arms. The youths, really. Gen Z, maybe some younger millennials too, who are deranged. But there's been comparisons to Avril Lavigne, etc. online this week. And I need to remind people that Avril Lavigne was also dragged and called, quote unquote, a poser back when we went to school. You remember when people would just lobby poser at people? White people would do this, obviously. The cool kids be like, fucking poser.
Let me just say, I remember those days very vividly. And I think no one denied that Avril Lavigne had the hooks. Because obviously she had like all these huge radio hits in a row.
Yeah.
That album, Let Go, was a hit from the jump. It took no time at all. I do think she, in interviews, did herself some disservices regarding phrases like punk, which, by the way, the idea that anybody from my generation cared seriously about punk is bizarre. So I don't know what standard we were holding her to.
They didn't even care about Punky Brewster.
That's no, Soleil Moonfry, please. That's barely millennial. But I will say, this album, the Olivia Rodrigo album, I think is a better version of her last album, which I still liked. Lots of fun songs, funny lyrics, emotional lyrics. She's still doing there is a slight baby voice component, but she also has like a ghost component, which I think makes it more fun. Like the emotional songs, it's almost like a spooky rave is the image that's conjuring for me. But I do like also, and I think this is part of why people are maybe calling her calculated, which is, by the way, a word that is lobbied almost exclusively at female pop stars. Going back to Barbra Streisand when she traded Broadway for rock music. I do like that it really sounds like the Mean Girls soundtrack. This, to me, sounds like a companion piece to Lilix, which is, I think, a pretty good little moment in time.
Yeah. I get the comparisons with people who've come before her, but for me, she just feels like a good student of music. This is the shit she grew up with. What else is she going to sound like? You know?
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate just her vibe, I think. I feel like she's having fun. I feel like she's not so self-serious. And maybe there's the calculation going on there. But if you're a pop star, everything is calculated. No one is making it to pop star level, to being as big as Olivia Rodrigo is right now without, some planning.
Right. No, I mean, like, I think the number one person in pop history who is called calculated is Madonna. The moving from style to style, album to album. People think that has an artificial quality to it, when the fact is it's just remaining fresh. It's just basic business instincts in some ways. And I think you can be good at being calculated. That's what makes pop music fun. Like, what if I tried this out and I inserted this part of my persona? It's just like, I don't know. It's like pop is a perpetual costume party. You can dress up differently for it every day, whip on new styles, and that's the fun of it.
Imagine hating being calculated anyway, because let me tell you something about millennials. We cannot count.
Right.
I need to know 6 + 4, and I'm going to the calculator on my iPhone.
No, right.
We could
It's
all
just
be
not
more
what we do best.
calculated.
Literally on in my trivia league, you can see all your stats for what categories you're best at. And like you look at mine and you're like, well, look at this faggot. It's like theater number 1, film number whatever. I used to be a really good math student. Math is what I am worst at now. I don't know how this happened to me.
Getting into the album, I feel like what I really love is the lyrics are funny. I think she's really fucking funny. We talked about Bad Idea already because that was a single, but Get Him Back, like my favorite on the album.
That's my favorite song on the album. Yes, mine too.
It is so funny because I feel like it makes you think initially like, oh, you want to get him back because you miss him, and it unfolds that way, but then no, I want to get him back so I can get revenge on his ass.
Yeah, right. It's pure pettiness and embracing it.
The line where she describes him as 6'2" and says, yeah, right. There's just a fun, snarky quality to her, which is sort of refreshing in this post-Euphoria-ish era where I feel like we were getting stuff that felt like it was pushed for teenagers, but it was try-hard stuff for teenagers in that it's here's drugs, here's sex, here's them being all,
Euphoria high.
Despondent, etc. It is the opposite of that, and it feels youthful. It feels like it actually is saying something about what younger people are actually thinking in America, and it's not old people writing for teens.
Right. I also enjoyed, people forget this, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction for Carly Simon, they had Olivia Rodrigo sing You're So Vain. Now, in a way, it feels like some man took 2 seconds to be like, who's another person who sings disparagingly about men, and thought about, oh, there's that song Driver's License that came out yesterday. Let's just whip that girl in here. She is a really good singer. I don't know what I expected going into that performance, and not that, You're So Vain is some wild vocal showcase or anything, but it was a really credible, cool, fun performance. She really is in line with several generations of songwriters and the subject matter they're interested in. So, and again, she's so fucking young. So I feel like this is just some starting block shit too. I'm really excited to see where she'll go.
Plus, You're So Vain is sort of akin to her song Vampire, which some people think is about Taylor Swift. Some people think it's about someone else. I feel like that's a song in her catalog that people are going to be debating, who is this about forever? Like people are always doing with Carly Simon's song. But I love that she said in this Rolling Stone interview that I don't say who my songs are about, and I'm never going to.
Ding. Yes. Period. Also, it's like, that's what being a stan is all about. Let's debate this forever. And then they stay on the other side of the fence and don't acknowledge that, in the way that, what people think of me is none of my business. What my stans are discussing is none of my business.
Right. And I think that we also need to get to a point where we stop asking her about other people in interviews.
This album, though, has sent me into a trek back to when we were teenagers going into college, that particular era of not just Avril Lavigne, but Fifi Dobson. There was Ashley Simpson. There was this very popular pop punk style, punctuated by Lady Angst, and we got a lot of good stuff. And I think the best of it for me was the Veronicas when they. The singles in that album, I did not know at the time, that's a Max Martin album. So like the reason the pop hooks are so tight on that on their first album, which I think is just called the Veronicas, and their follow-up album, which is called Hook Me Up. Those songs are so fucking good. Forever, Everything I'm Not, When It All Falls Apart, and then on the second album, Untouched.
And let me tell you something.
Music.
They're still untouched, okay? Because the girls aren't touching them. The Veronicas are
What happened?
I love that era. I like the Donnas. I feel like I wish the Donnas had more post that first album, but Take It Off is a banger. Like an undisputable banger. And I saw like on Instagram that when you were listening to like the second Avril Lavigne album is so, I feel like, underrated now in retrospect, but that has so many fucking good songs. The way it just like My Happy Ending is on it, and that's what I feel like everyone talks about.
That is, I think that's the 10 of her catalog. Yeah.
But Take Me Away.
Don't tell me.
Take Me Away, Nobody's Home, Forgotten. These are songs.
Yeah, totally.
I used to listen to that album constantly.
I feel like there should be a German word for something that used to be on the radio all the time, and then for whatever reason, you don't hear it again. I personally feel this is something happening with the song Havana, which we heard for a year and a half, and now you never hear it anymore. And I feel like it's maybe the, I don't know about best song of the past 6 years, but certainly like a hook you will never forget, you know? So like, why don't I hear that song again and again?
Shawn Mendes' best vocals, his best song, to be honest.
Yeah,
and
right.
that Ooh Na Na, you're going to make me listen to that fucking song the rest of the day now. It's in my head.
That's how I feel. Yeah, right. Literally just saying the word puts that song in your head. But I was going to say, I went through Avril's catalog, and I couldn't believe how many songs I had forgotten about. If you had asked me off the top of my head how many hits she had, I would have said 4. You know, like ending in maybe Girlfriend or something. How about the song Hot? How about the song What the Hell? Just Nobody's Home I had completely forgotten about at the time. I literally think I lumped it in my head with Behind These Hazel Eyes. It's a sort of similar song, but Behind These Hazel Eyes, for some reason, I'm likelier to hear all the time. Also, Dan Levy, our friend of the podcast, alerted me that he is in the video for Behind These Hazel Eyes.
Ah! I did
How
not
weird
know
is that?
Speaking of What the Hell, I remember that song specifically because when that song came out, I feel like every gay person was saying to their friends, all my life I've been good, but now I'm thinking, what the hell? What a lyric.
By the way, another song that I think is secretly very gay-centric that didn't get enough play at the time, Boyfriend by Ashley Simpson. I think that is secretly the best song of her career. In fact, I like that second album, which is unfortunately entitled I Am Me, which is something you, as a freshman in high school, call your poetry project.
I love Miss Ashley Simpson. I wrote a whole essay on Ashley Simpson in my book. I am a big Ashley Simpson stan, going back to Autobiography. I mean, that was my Olivia Rodrigo when I was in high school. That album just came out roaring, and then I Am Me with In Another Life, LOVE. Coming back for more. Those are like LOVE. That is another song that dominated TRL, the radio. And let us not forget the Missy Elliott remix.
Also, any song that begins with "All my girls," come on. I'm one of them. I'm one of the girls. You're talking to me.
That's actually how they start Hysteria every week.
Right.
Aaron Gloria Ryan going, all my girls.
Yeah.
Stand in a circle.
And just putting her arms around no one in the studio.
It's so funny thinking about the Ashley Simpson mishap on SNL, the lip syncing thing, because if she'd have just been straight like I'm lip syncing and dancing, then no one would have cared, right? Because there was a clip going around of Madonna doing Vogue at the VMAs. When she dresses Marie Antoinette, and someone was like, what's iconic about this is there is not a single mic on stage.
Oh, not even close.
No.
That is the record you're hearing. Yeah.
And she gave an interview where she said, this is about the fantasy. I am performing. I've never said that I was doing this to be, a singer. I never said that I was doing live music. And she said, I feel like the only people who complain about it are live performers who can't get booked anymore.
God, she used to be such an asshole. I love it. I mean, so funny. Also, can I say about the Ashley Simpson thing, the SNL mishap? So what happened was they ended up playing the tape again for Pieces of Me, which she already performed. Pieces of Me. I was going to say singular. It's Pieces of Me.
She was supposed to do the second single.
If she had just lip synced it again, that would have been totally iconic. Like,
Yeah.
We're just doing the one song today.
Yeah.
Maybe this one will be even better. Also, by the way, a clip, I am bringing up my friend Andy again. He posted a clip of Anna Faris in the movie Lost in Translation, where she gives a very funny performance that I feel like goes underrated. How did we not put Anna Faris on SNL at some point? And how was she not the person who played Ashley Simpson the week after that? That would have been so perfect.
Anna Faris is one of the greatest comedians of our time, which is so funny that she talks about in interviews how she didn't think she was funny at all when she was cast in Scary Movie. So they had to coax that out of her on set.
That reminds me of when we had Rachel Weisz on this show, and I was like, some of the funniest line readings ever in the movie The Favorite. And she goes, I didn't play it like it was funny. I almost didn't even know it was funny. And it's like, what? But you did. Stop. How is this happening? How did you stumble into funny? Madeline Kahn, sort of similar. She would enter a room or a scene and people would start laughing immediately and she wouldn't understand why.
It's her saunter. It's her sachet.
Yes, right. It's the look in her eye. There's a tremor there that people recognize.
But I mean, to tie it back to Olivia, the Ashley Simpson of it all was because she was going for this whole I'm authentic, I'm a rocker, I'm different from Jessica Simpson thing. What's great about Olivia is she plays her fucking instruments. She is a writer, and it's not just an authenticity thing. It helps her write songs. I remember Prince told Beyonce that once, and he was like, just learn to play the piano, and it will open up your world as a musician. And she did.
And then Prince was like, do you know what else opens up my world? I play every goddamn instrument in sight. And then he brought out like a fucking sousaphone and played it for her.
And she was like, you know what? I'm going to pass on that one. You know what he said his favorite song at the time? And obviously he passed, so he hasn't gotten to hear any of her other music. But he fucking loved Speechless off of Dangerously in Love. Yeah.
I literally prefer other songs called Speechless to that song.
When she performed that, she was giving it her all, though. That's a sexy-ass performance of Speechless. I will put that out there. But yeah, he loved that. And also there's a performance of the Revolution doing Sugar Mama from B-Day.
That is pretty fucking rad. Woof.
Yeah, that's a jam. That's a song. That's a rock album, to be honest.
Truly, truly, truly. I'm trying to think if there's anything left about this Olivia Rodrigo album to say. Yeah, I think funny is the key component that makes this album rise above others of its ilk. And the pop hooks are extremely strong. I hope we get a whole throwback moment. I hope we get a band that sounds like the Donnas next.
Yeah, it would be nice to see girl bands come back. You know, let's get a Donnas. Let's get the Veronicas again. I'm just happy for this era of this music being the circular part of time that's coming back, because this was my high school music. I love this shit.
Right. No, I think also a reason that music wasn't that respected at the time was, aside from rap in the 2000s, I think most musical genres felt like weaker versions of things that had preceded it. You know, like this era of women in pop and rock came well after, you know, the worlds of like Hole or Alanis Morissette or, you know, all those people. And, you know, at the time you might think, oh, well, this is like, it's gone so mainstream, it doesn't mean as much anymore. But now we can just look back at the music and not acknowledge it only for its place in pop culture. Now it's just, was the music good? And
I think that now that we understand that a pop hook is great, and you have artists like, you know, a Charlie XCX who tries on pop as a performance piece.
Yeah.
There's now a bigger appreciation for a lot of the pop music of when we were younger, like even like a Britney song, a Christina song, an NSYNC song, the ones that were really well crafted, and you hear them again now and you're like, wait, that's a really fucking banger song, you know? And I think pop could take something from that and really just learn to craft music that sonically sounds great, is funny, and has a great hook. Bring back hooks.
I saw a clip the other day of NSYNC performing in late 1996 when I think their first single had come out. Is there I Want You Back? I think that's the song in question. And first of all, I didn't realize that song had come out that early. Justin, they are dressed. It's like on a German TV show because the single came out in Germany first.
Lou Pearlman pushed Backstreet and NSYNC in Europe way before they came to dominate the U.S.
Yeah, and in this video, they are wearing outfits that I'm going to call, imagine a child in the Tour de France. That's how tight these outfits are. And I didn't realize, like, Justin was performing this shit at 15. Like, he was a child entertainer. You know, I mean, like, we know he was in the Mickey Mouse Club and stuff, but I didn't realize he was up in the NSYNC stuff so young. Wow.
Those songs have aged pretty well, to be honest. But listen to NSYNC's back catalog. Those songs have aged well. And listen to B-sides on that album, on those first three NSYNC albums. They are really great.
Well, some of that music was like state of the art at the time too. Like you think of like Dirty Pop or whatever. I mean, that when that came out, I was like, here it is, like pop music of the moment. And it still feels like forward viewing in certain ways.
Anyway, when we're back, our favorite segment, Keep It. And we're back with our favorite segment of the episode. It's Keep It. Lewis?
Yes.
What's poppin'?
Keep it. Angrily, adamantly, to Rotten Tomatoes. We had never done much catch up on how much of a stranglehold Rotten Tomatoes has on people. How people, when they're looking to see if a movie is well received, they don't read reviews. They don't look past the tomato. They see a number and it stops there. And we assume that there is some credibility to it. There's a reason it's that number, and we believe in it. Once upon a time, Meryl Streep gave an interview where she said, I looked into Rotten Tomatoes and I thought to myself, I wonder how many women have reviews on this site. And she said, if it were half women, that would make sense. If it were a quarter women, I wouldn't be surprised. It ended up being something like a seventh of the reviewers on the site at the time were women. And she goes, not only is that awful, but that sways box office. So like men are basically dictating what is good and what is not good. Yeah. Interesting point from Meryl. We love her. She seems like one of the smart ones. Well, there's a new article this week in Vulture talking about it's called The Decomposition of Rotten Tomatoes. The subhead says, the most overrated metric in movies is erratic, reductive, and easily hacked, and yet has Hollywood in its grip. Goes into a story about how this movie Ophelia, which is a feminist retelling of Hamlet starring Daisy Ridley, suddenly had a whole bunch of positive reviews sprinkled in. They were dubious reviews, and that moved the tomato meter to make it a fresh movie as opposed to a rotten movie. And then because of that, it got picked up and got different distribution. This is such a completely hackable format. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes tells us anything about movies, at least with Metacritic, a site I love. You get people who are reading these reviews, telling you specifically how good the review is, putting them all in a row, and then you can decide for yourself what the most credible review in the lineup is. With Rotten Tomatoes, I'm looking at half of these authors and periodicals, whatever, and I have no idea what they are. It's just a site that has gotten away with putting itself in the center of pop culture, in the center of the cinematic universe for too long, and we just haven't questioned it. Everyone's just like allowed it to happen. And now we're hearing that studios or movie companies, whatever, are basically paying reviewers to give certain reviews so that it lands higher on the tomato meter, and it's sick. It sucks. It totally sucks.
I mean, that's not surprising at all, considering the whole confluence of the influencers who have been reporting on movies on TikTok or Instagram, for instance. There was another article about that recently in the New York Times. It kept calling them critics, which they're not critics. They're just influencers being paid by a studio to talk about a film. And that is, listen, it has its place, but that is not reviews. That's not criticism. You know, if you want to talk about Rotten Tomatoes, you know, let's take that back to the theater where a tomato used to mean something. If you brought a tomato into the theater and you hurled it at Ira Aldridge because you did not like, you know, his rendition of Othello, you were probably racist because he was the first Othello played by a black man, but it meant that you actually had to bring that tomato from your garden and hurl it at a performer.
That's right.
You know? Now you could just, with a click, you're hurling tomatoes, and you're hurling fresh tomatoes too.
Horticulturalists used to run this town.
Okay.
And you would just knock over Sarah Bernhardt. You said, I don't care if she has like a lame leg or whatever. Today she's falling down.
Now it's online, and it's just there's greens, nothing but greens, cabbages, asparagus, or watercress.
Too much watercress is where I wanted to get with this conversation. I'm glad we got there.
Speaking of greens,
yes,
my keep it is about a very healthy new drink that's about to hit the market.
What the fuck is this? Who are you, Flo Rida, with your in on the du jour drinks?
So, Ice Spice has a new collaboration with Dunkin' Donuts. It's called the Munchkins drink because of her song Munch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Barely works. All right.
Let me tell you something about what is in this. And so it gets blended, of course.
Okay.
But the recipe includes a caramel drizzle on top, whipped cream, a caramel drizzle inside the cup, pumpkin munchkins, the donut holes that they sell there, coffee syrup, cream, liquid cane sugar, water, a heaping cup of ice. Where is the coffee?
Where is the drink? Yeah, until we get to water, I'm like, how am I gulping this?
America's running on Dunkin', but now it looks like America is running on diabetes. And I need to know, did Ronald Reagan make this drink?
That is really bad. Also, there's a hot dog chain in Chicago called Portillo's. There's a couple of branches out here, actually. And they have a very famous cake shake. Now, I don't know what goes into that. I mean, like a full slice of cake, it's a particular type of drink. But this Munchkins, that's not drink. I mean, I'm like pointing at the Munchkins. That's just... It's cakey material. I don't know how that works.
Pointing at the Munchkins like Judy Garland. Get them away from me. These Munchkins sound evil as well, because I can't imagine drinking this. Should I drink it and report on it? I probably will.
Also, it's pumpkin Munchkins. Come on. Ugh.
The pumpkin thing is annoying me. Like, what if you want it
Can I
without the
exchange
pumpkin?
the pumpkin? Yeah, right. Also, they need to diversify the Munchkin flavors, I think. There's still only like 4 of them, right?
Yeah. Are you a Dunkin' girl?
Occasionally, if I'm at the airport, for example.
You know when Dunkin' used to be the biggest part of my life? It was Loyola Chicago, because there was a Dunkin' Donuts underneath the Loyola Red Stop line, which was directly across the street from campus. So whenever you would get home drunk, there'd be a line of kids at Dunkin' Donuts.
You know what I like about Dunkin' Donuts? So the display behind the person taking your order is just a high and low shelf of donuts, and to me it feels like, get ready, in old Wheel of Fortune, where when you would have your money at the end of the round, you would have to then shop for items on the stage, and so they would just like pan past this glamorous panorama of the car, whatever. I mean, and then it went down to really cheap items like Dalmatian statuary or, a pendant or something that you had to spend $20 on, and you had to spend all your money. So you would eventually waste your money on these small items. Anyway, I like when I'm at Dunkin' Donuts and I'm like, I'll take, one strawberry sprinkle. I'll take, it's fun. It's like Belle going through the books in Beauty and the Beast. We're going high and low. They're getting on the ladder. It's a lot of fun.
Do you think we're going to see Ben Affleck drinking the Munchkin drink?
Ooh, we haven't seen him in a minute. So if he reemerges with that, it would be brilliant.
I would love a Ben Affleck Ice Spice collabo.
Yes. I would like to see them walking down a street despondently together. He needs to get back into that. He and Anna, they would look pissed together, but hydrated.
I mean, we could get a J-Lo Ice Spice song and then have Ben in the video.
You know she's made that call. Please, if anybody's doing a collab, it's Jennifer Lopez. And by the way, should we do a secondary preemptive keep it to her tribute, apparently, to Tina Turner at last night's Video Music Awards? Now, we didn't get to see it yet. We're filming this on Tuesday. But I'm just saying, Private Dancer, that was not Tina Turner's primary skill set. And that might be J-Lo's, and I feel like I'm sensing a conflict here.
Yes, Tina was not much of a hustler, Now, listen. She did hold audiences in her grip like an anaconda, but
okay.
I think we're gonna watch J-Lo doing that, and we're gonna say, okay, enough.
And we're gonna say, can you make a U-turn out of the stadium?
These are bottom of the barrel puns we're doing at this juncture. We need to end this episode. So, thank you to Graham Norton for joining us this week, and we will see you next week. Hopefully, next week there'll be some restraining order against Club Chalamet and not us reporting on a funeral.
Yeah. Whenever we run into real journalism, things are not right at Keep It. That can't be the case. Okay. See you next week.